Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue of Southeast Asia TV. Tonight we'll be talking about the issue of energy efficiency, perhaps related to climate change, perhaps related to many of the global issues that the world is facing now. And I have the pleasure to have with me today Mayte de Vries. She's the project manager of an EU program called MEET-BIS. It's a long acronym which I won't bother to spell. I will ask her to do it. So Mayte, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Mayte de Vries. Do I say it right?
Yes,
all right.
That's very correct.
I'll give you a couple minutes for you to introduce yourself a bit and also about the program.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Mayte de Vries indeed. I work for ETC Foundation, which is a Dutch NGO, and we are implementing the MEET-BIS project funded by the European Union indeed.
What does MEET-BIS stand for?
MEET-BIS stands for Mainstreaming Energy Efficiency Through Business Innovation Support.
Wow.
Yeah,
so,
it's a very complicated title.
So there's two main elements here. Energy efficiency and then business, right?
Yes,
but you still work with the government, right?
Yes, we also, of course, collaborate with the government to make sure that it's also on a policy level. It's very important to make sure these things happen.
Is there a policy on energy efficiency in Cambodia so far?
There is actually. There is a strategic plan on energy efficiency, which has been, I think it's almost being approved by the government. They have been working on it for a long time to make sure it's a really good plan.
Yes.
So that would be very useful if that's going to be implemented in the next years as well.
Yeah. I see. And how long has the program been in operation?
The program just started in January, actually. We are here for the next 4 years.
Yeah. So in the next 4 years, what do you expect the outcome would be in terms of energy efficiency, in terms of involvement of the private sector here?
Yeah. Well, what we hope to achieve is that in the end, a lot of SMEs, so small and medium enterprises, have been investing in energy efficiency measures. And that the companies that are selling energy efficiency products have developed their business capacity in terms of marketing and sales, and in terms of also some technical capacity, maybe some more products, and that in the end that will transfer to the rest of the market, so that it's not just a few companies that we will be working with, but that the whole sector can be developed and that there's more interest in energy efficiency.
In the world, there's a lot of discussion on green economy, on climate change, reduction of pollutant. This is part of that larger effort, right, to tackle that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, indeed, it's part of that. Yeah. In the end, it reduces the number of CO2 emissions that are used, because energy is a big contributor to that as well. And by using energy efficiency measures, less CO2 comes into the atmosphere, which increases and the future for the rest of the people to still have a planet.
I think the issue on energy efficiency, it's good, but to me the challenge is, when you're dealing with a big multinational, it's easy. You're dealing with company who have people who understand the issue. But when you move toward a small and medium-sized enterprise, how do you see their understanding? I'm pretty sure it's not high.
No, you're quite right. Actually, we did some surveys already with some small, medium enterprises, and you can see that they find it an interesting concept, but they have no idea how to do it or what is actually energy efficiency, how can they save it. In the end, for them, the most convincing argument is that it saves costs, because I can keep on talking about the environment, but for a business,
they wouldn't care.
They don't care, indeed. So in the end, most of the energy saving measures also save on costs, and that is where it gets interesting.
But in other countries who are much more advanced, I mean, it's part of the national sort of like thinking, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure in your country, in Europe, energy efficiency, it's a talk of the day. People are familiar with it, right? Recycling and all that sort of thing. What do you see the challenge in a country, emerging economy like Cambodia, where people are still more worried about making money, how to sell more, how to make more profit? Their consciousness on environment is very low, I would say. So how do you see that?
Well, I think in the end it should be a combination where you can make money through green economy, through energy efficiency measures, because, you know, on the one hand, it's for businesses, if they do use, for example, CFL lights, it saves on their energy bill. You can see it at the end of the month that that it has an effect.
What light again?
Sorry, yeah, a CFL light.
Oh, CFL light.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's one of the lights which are used already quite often, I think, here.
I
but
see.
it helps to save. If you would use a normal light bulb,
Yeah.
you could immediately see the difference in your costs. Now, if you, it also creates jobs in general as a sector. It
Yes.
also creates new jobs for people to work in that. And I think in the end, that's the way you want to go for a green economy, by combining the environmental aspect with the economic aspect to make sure that for people it actually gets interesting to do something with it.
But how do you mobilize them, the private sector, the small, medium price? You know, they are not well organized, and let's face it.
No, that's true. And that is a challenge indeed. And we have been implementing the same MEET-BIS project in Vietnam before for the last 4.5 years.
Okay.
And
what's the lesson learned from Vietnam?
Well, the lessons learned there is that it actually does work.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it took us a few years, of course, but in the end you could really see also that the whole sector had been changed. A lot more awareness was there actually also among SMEs of the importance of energy saving measures and how that could really improve their business.
Okay. So in fact, by having test the market in Vietnam for the last 4 years, you can skip the learning curve a bit in Cambodia, right?
We hope so.
We hope so. Any similarity or difference between the two markets?
Well, I think there's some differences and probably also some similarities. I think the main difference is that in terms of suppliers and products of energy efficiency, the market here is a bit less advanced than it was in Vietnam. You had more suppliers in Vietnam, I think, than I've seen here so far. But the good part is actually that the energy prices are so much higher here than they are in Vietnam, which makes it more interesting, and you get your investment back easier.
But in Vietnam it's subsidized. The cost of energy is subsidized. In Cambodia it's not subsidized, so there's more incentive, like you say, for people to say, oh my God, I mean, if I can move to that. Any thought about helping forming an association?
Yes, we have been thinking about that, but we're not sure if we're going to do that yet. It also depends a bit on the suppliers of these kind of products, if they are interested in forming an association of any form. We have seen in Vietnam that it's very useful to organize them together, at least, to get them together, to exchange, to learn from each other, and to also be able to have a voice to the government and to the rest of the country. But
most of this technology are very much from Europe, right? Most of the technology.
No, actually there's a lot of technology also from Asian countries that is very good. If you look at Korea, Japan, there's a lot of very good products from there as well.
So it's not necessarily a European-centric technology approach, right?
No, not for us. I mean, even though we're funded by the European Union, it doesn't mean that we only support European technologies.
I see.
As long as it's good quality products, then it can be from anywhere around the world.
Okay. Well, so give me some concrete example on energy, efficiency, right? Give me some example because, we can talk a lot on the macro level, but I think for most of the audience, we probably lose them a bit.
Well, an example of energy efficiency measures can be solar water heaters for hotels, for example. They have to heat a lot of water, and because all these customers want to take a shower every day. So if you have a solar water heater, you can use the energy from the sun. You don't have to heat it by using electricity or coal or gas, and that saves a lot already. I mean, you have to see it in the longer term, because first it's a bigger investment than if you would be using coal or gas. It's an upfront investment. But then if you look at, usually the payback period is 1 or 1.5 years.
That's it? That's it?
Yeah, it's usually quite soon. It depends a bit on the size of the system.
Yes,
of course, it might be a bit longer if your system is bigger, but still it's not
2
that
years,
much.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Water heater. What else?
Yeah, what else? Well, I mentioned the CFL lights already. That is something. What you also have is a more advanced system, which is a sensor system, where if you walk, if you're not inside a room, then the lights go out automatically. But if you walk by, there's a sensor and it senses
It
you,
will
and
trigger,
then
yeah, okay.
trigger it, and it turns on again. And you also have a lot of hotels have these key card systems.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
That also helps,
When
exactly.
you
When
take
you
out,
leave, you take the key card out, and all the electricity
but
is
some
shut
smart
down.
people just put their credit card there, and then they go
True.
shopping,
Yeah.
come back, the room's still cool.
Yeah,
Right?
no, and that's also where the more energy management system comes in, so to say, where you actually try to also educate people on how to use your energy, for example. You see a lot of, well, also businesses here, banks and other kinds of businesses have their air conditioning on 18 degrees Celsius, and that's not really, I mean, if I go in, I'm like, ooh, it's very cold in here, so just to turn your air conditioning on 25, 26 degrees already saves a lot of energy, and it doesn't cost you anything.
But at 18 degree, it make people more alert, no?
Well, actually, we have in our office, we have the temperature at 26, and everyone is still very good awake in the afternoon to get their work done. So, yeah, it actually is fine.
Other example?
Another example that you have is what we call a variable speed drive, which is a different kind of product for the garment and textile industries. Where they have, for the sewing machines, you can insert a variable speed drive, which means that if you're not using the machine continuously, you have, at some point you use the machine more often. The variable speed drive means that the electricity use between the different peaks and not peaks is more equally divided, so you use less energy as well.
So it's very sophisticated in terms of technology and very diversified in terms of technology. But for the business community, what will be primarily the use that they can see in energy efficiency?
It depends on which kind of sectors you look at. We will be working with different sectors. We'll be looking at hotel sectors, at probably at textile factories as well. We've looked at ice factories. Those are a huge user of energy. Actually, the KTV, the karaokes, are also using a lot of electricity. They have a lot of lighting, LED lighting at night. You have restaurants is another interesting sector. So it depends a bit on which sector you look at, what kind of products are most interesting. You know, lights are for all the sectors. I mean, you have I mentioned the CFL lights, you have LED lights, you have the T5, which is more of a different kind of light again, which is also saving. That's very interesting. Air conditioning is, of course, a big factor in most.
How do you save on air conditioning?
Well, you have different ways in saving on the air conditioning already. One way is actually buying a new one, because all the new ones are more efficient already than the old ones. But that doesn't count as an official energy saving measure. You also have more of a hybrid air conditioning, which partly uses solar, partly uses electricity, which also saves a lot. And you have the central chilling systems, which also is a very good energy saver.
So, listening to your example, it's a lot of focus on commercial, urban, industrial setting, right?
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Not much application in to rural areas.
No,
not yet.
Quite right. Yeah, if you look at the small medium enterprises that we focus on, you know, if they just need one or two lights, it's not very interesting for a supplier to really go to a completely rural area and try and sell one or two lights. It takes a lot of time and effort and costs to get there. So that's why we try to focus first on the urban areas and get the market going, so to say. And that's the easiest way.
But in a hotel setting, you know, for older hotel, you know, it would take a lot of time to rewire it, you know, that sort of thing, no?
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's also why it's sometimes difficult for hotels to make this kind of investment. And that's also why we have an additional component on access to finance, where we work with financial institutions or try to make innovative financing models where we support the SMEs in actually getting a loan or some other way of financing it.
So basically your approach is you bring knowledge of the new technology, you work with a local company, and they will become more like a local distributorship for those supplier, right?
Yeah, actually, they or some of them are already distributors for these kind of products. But what you can see is what they find more difficult is the marketing and sales part of their businesses.
Yes.
To actually go out there and promote themselves and try and get new customers, especially among SMEs, is not that easy.
Yeah.
Also because SMEs are, their awareness of what is a good quality product is not so much. So there is a missing link, so to say, there between the suppliers and the SMEs. And that's actually what we will be focusing on, to try and bring them together.
But you know, in the energy or in the technology sector, price are very sensitive, right? In terms of you know, early introduction of a new product, the price is quite high, and then there's a sharp decline after it's been commercialized, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's still, the price still quite high, you know, compared to, I mean, when you talk about front loading the investment, for example?
Yeah. Well, I think if you compare it, you know, if you talk about good quality products, you talk about a little bit higher price, of course, because usually that's the case, that you pay a little bit more because you want good quality. But it also means that it will, it will work longer. You won't have as much problems with it as you would with a cheaper product.
But are they reliable? Because, you know, I think in the early part of this solar energy revolution, you know, I mean, it looks good, but the price is exorbitantly high.
True. Yeah.
Where are we now? I mean, are we still in the high end, the medium end? When do you see the price coming down?
I think the price has been coming down already quite a lot. You can see that the materials are getting cheaper to actually make the solar panels, which also makes it more affordable for lower income households and businesses. I wouldn't say it's very cheap yet, but at least it's getting a lot more affordable than it used to be.
But for household, right? You think it's still it is within the range yet that somebody build a small house, small villa, to front load the investment in the solar panel? You think it's worth it?
Well, it would depend on their energy use as well, and also it depends a bit on how close to the grid are they, for example. You know, are there plans by the government to extend the grid in the next few years to their house or not? Because if they are far away from the grid and it's not going to be extended in the next 5 to 10 years, then it might be an interesting investment. But if the grid is going to come there within the next 5 years, then you won't have your investment back as a household. So then it doesn't make sense, because then you're grid connected, and you cannot feed your energy from your solar panel to the grid back yet.
No, but the point is that cost efficient, even if there's a grid available, right? Because, you know, the price of electricity in Cambodia is quite high.
Prices are high.
Yeah. So is that cost efficient for somebody to look at, okay, in the next 5 years, I'm going to invest into a solar panel system, and then I will amortize every month, you know, by not paying the electricity from the grid. Is that doable yet?
Well, that would be hard to say for me, actually, because it depends on the technical specifications of the system, and how much sun are you actually getting in that household. You know, how big should your system be, depending on your energy needs, and then the prices as well. What I can say a bit about it from the Netherlands, what you see there, is that because there is a subsidy from the government on getting solar panels, there it's interesting to do it for households. But it's also because if they're not using their solar energy, it goes back to the grid and it's deducted from your energy bill.
Oh, is that right?
So that is it's called what we call feed-in tariff. So you can actually feed it back to the grid if you're not using it, which
but
saves
not
you
the case in
money.
Cambodia yet, right?
No,
I mean,
exactly. That's not the case here. Yeah.
But working in the sector, you see any future trend that the more of this solar energy, panel energy are installed, or solar energy farm? Yeah, I'm talking about large farm, right?
The large farms.
Will there be any interest or any attraction from the EDC, for example, right? the electricity of Cambodia
Yeah.
to have